Right, there seems to be a activity at Constitutional Hill now in Johannesburg, and that's where South Africans are proudly celebrating World Tourism Day. SABC News anchor Simphiwe Ncongwane is live to us once again from there with the Tourism Minister, Patricia de Lille. But first of all, Simphiwe, talk to us a bit about all the colour that I'm seeing behind you. Certainly looks like a whole lot of festivities taking place.
A very good morning to Griselda. You're quite right there. It is really getting colourful here. I see so many South Africans trickling in wearing colourful outfits, and I suppose that denotes the rich tapestry of South Africa's social fabric. And so many key stakeholders in the tourism sector have already made their way in. The Tourism Minister Patricia de Lille is already here to talk to us about quite a number of issues in the tourism space. And I suppose we will keep on emphasising that the theme for this year's World Tourism event is tourism and sustainable transformation, because there's been quite some consternation with regards to tourism not being sustainable. The jobs that the tourism sector offers are sometimes short-term, sometimes temporary, and not really sustainable. And some of these jobs are seasonal. So how do we harness that this day in ensuring that tourism is a lever that will bring about economic change in South Africa? So yeah, the Minister is here to talk to us about some of these issues. Minister, a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Now, Minister, I suppose the venue for World Tourism Day today, the Constitution Hill, is quite symbolic. It's quite symbolic in the sense that, in as much as it was once a very notorious prison, but it's now a symbol of hope. It is now a symbol of freedom, rule of law. Constitutional Court is already housed here in this complex. So let's talk about what transformation means, in the context of your department's strategy in economic growth in this sector.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Indeed, it's an honor to be here at Constitutional Hill. Again, to illustrate where we came from, what is our history, our sad past. But through the symbol of our Constitution, we've been able to transform our country and to bring freedom. And tourism is contributing more than 8.8% to the gross domestic product. And also, it is at least 1.6 million jobs we created last year. And tourism has got a great potential to absorb big numbers of our unemployed young people. The semi-skilled, the unskilled. We are training them. We are involving in digital technology. So it's indeed a great honor so that we can also unpack this word sustainable and sustainability. I think it's overuse and abuse unless you illustrate what sits inside sustainability. And definitely tourism illustrates this so eloquently by bringing together our heritage, our culture, where we can say as free South Africans, this is our history and this is our heritage. Yes. And
I'm quite intrigued at how well you use the term sustainably and sustainability in the context of economic growth. And as I mentioned in my intro, some of the complaints and consternations is that the tourism sector does not really offer some jobs that are sustainable.
It's not true.
Some jobs are seasonal, some jobs are temporary. And transformation, of course, is a big word. Minister, is a big word in the South African context, at least. But transformation has often been accused of being slow and being selective in some instances. But what are some of the metrics or the scorecards are you going to use to take this particular sector to task and ensure that transformation really is happening on the ground?
As part of our G20 presidency this year, we have hosted a hackathon amongst 21 universities in our country that offers tourism as a subject as part of their curriculum. And the winners, we had 500,000 prize money for the top 3. And they have designed solutions for the future. So And we have to overlay all our tourism work with technology, with AI. But we still have to keep the balance. You know, AI mustn't take over the personal contact. And then the kind of jobs that we are seeing, because if tourism continue to grow, those jobs will be sustainable. As government, we are also now investing in the next financial year 250 million rand to place young people inside private institutions, hotels and guest houses and sand parks for them to earn while they further learn, so that they become park rangers, they can become hotel managers. So we are really working very hard together with the private sector, and we've produced a tourism growth partnership plan that I prioritize. The Minister for Home Affairs has just announced the electronic travel authorization.
Right.
It's a huge game changer. It's a big enabler for tourists to come to our country.
Right.
And we starting with the 5 big ones: China, India, Indonesia, Mexico. So our research shows that with the relaxation of the visa reforms now, we will be at least be getting 80,000 to 100,000 more tourists every year.
And speaking of the visa regulations and, in terms of getting more tourists into the country, and we know that Gauteng and Johannesburg in particular is a hub for conferences in Africa.
Oh, yes.
And,
yes.
Gauteng being the venue for the Tourism Month launch and now the World Tourism Day, it underscores the importance that this particular province has, in South Africa's rich tapestry. So,
yes.
In terms of just understanding what the goals are of all the other departments, so what is the national government doing in terms of collaboration or collaborating with the provinces in boosting and strategy?
The issue about business events, Gauteng and Johannesburg is well placed for business events, for meetings, incentives and conferences and events.
Absolutely.
And therefore Johannesburg has won the bid to host Meetings Africa for the next 5 years, right here in Johannesburg. Johannesburg will also be the host for the Presidential Leadership Summit in November. So the potential is there. We need to local government, national government and provincial government and exploit the opportunities that are there already. But Gauteng is doing very well, especially Johannesburg, with business events.
Now, this event comes hot on the heels of the G20 ministers that you hosted in Mpumalanga.
Yeah.
And one of the main tasks was the public-private partnerships.
Yes.
And one of the key goals of such a partnership is opening up opportunities for business and and procurement opportunities.
Yes.
So what is that leverage that the department has in terms of allowing and opening such opportunities, especially for the local tourism operators?
First of all, what we started to do was to package 8 tourism infrastructure projects, like the hole in the wall in the Eastern Cape, like God's window in Mpumalanga, and
first tourism investment summit.
And the value of the 8 projects that we have started the pipeline with, it's over R1 billion. And we pipeline. And the reason for that is that we must diversify our tourism offering. You know, there's a perception that South Africa is just about safaris and Table Mountain. Yes, those are iconic places, and people must still visit them. But we need to now, because we are competing, we need to show a new products. But I also am focusing on taking tourists out of the main urban centers into the townships, in villages, into the small dorpies. And therefore we have now put all of the small dorpies, townships and villages together, and we've got an agreement with Google that will help us to put all of those other tourism offerings that we have, especially in less visited provinces, so that everybody in South Africa do benefit from tourism.
And I suppose it speaks to the amplification of domestic tourism
Yes.
and rural tourism.
It's the bedrock.
Because
The
bedrock. Tourism on its own comes in
Yes.
different facets.
Yes.
Heritage tourism,
Yeah.
rural tourism,
Yes.
urban tourism.
Yes.
And I was just in conversation with one of the officials from Gauteng Tourism, and
Yeah.
I asked them that what are some of the strategies to cultivate the culture
Yes.
of ownership of Gauteng residents? Because Minister, let's be honest,
Yeah.
if you are a Gauteng and then someone asks you, what is your dream destination in South Africa?
Yeah.
The most probable answer would be the coastal areas.
Yes.
People would rather prefer to go to
Yes.
Durban, to Cape Town, East London,
Yes.
rather than staying in Joburg. How then do we have to cultivate the culture of ownership of our own environment and being ambassadors of our own provinces?
You know, the MEC will speak later, but there's a lot happening. There's the Josie Majosi walks, and I'm going to do one after this event.
Yes.
Whereby we're taking tourists and just local people to walk around the city and tell the story and the history of Johannesburg. That is to bring our communities also into tourism. But also here in Gauteng, you have got a lot of heritage sites. And I will encourage local people to visit local attractions.
Yep.
After this, I will be going to Soweto. Soweto has got an expo of all the tourist attractions within Gauteng. And I call it revenge travel. You know, we were locked up during COVID.
Right.
We stayed in our houses. And now South Africans are traveling. The income that we derive in tourism is from domestic tourism is more than what we derive from international tourism. So it is growing, but there's still a potential. I will be the first to admit that we need to do more. But it's also family choices. You know, the end of the year, we all want to travel to go to our family members.
Yes.
And then, of course, the family members plan to go to the coast and wherever. But it's not only the coastal areas, but I want to assure them there's a lot more to be seen. In the Free State, we've just launched the dinosaur center there. And already 15,000 visitors has gone through that. South Africa is not only the cradle of humankind, we're also the cradle of culture. So there's lots, people can take up the Short Left campaign, that's also there, where many of these institutions offer up to 50% discount. So go onto the Short Left website and you will see there's affordable. We know the cost of living is high, and we want to make tourism more and travel more affordable for our local South Africans.
All right, Minister.
Mzansi is yours. Go and enjoy it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you. Thank you so much for joining us, Minister.
Thank you.
All right, that was Tourism Minister Patricia de Lille, and she'll be the keynote speaker here as the country joins the rest of the world in celebrating World Tourism Day. Coming to you live from the Constitution Hill in Braamfontein in Johannesburg. Back to you in studio.